Hey everyone! We're going to talk today about the classics that I want to read. I had a really great education, so a lot of classics I've read already, but there are a couple of classics that the average person might have read in school, but I didn't because I went to some interesting schools. I'm sure I'll talk more about that during the video. So these are just some classics that I want to read. So let's start with honorable mentions. So these are just books that I've already read, but it's been a very, very, very long time, so I want to reread them. So these are just honorable mentions of rereads of classics that I want to do. So the first one is Frankenstein. I loved this in school. I think I read it 10th or 11th grade. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't remember, sorry. 10th or 11th grade, I read Frankenstein and I loved it, and I would love to reread it just at my own pace now that I'm a better reader than I was in high school. So Frankenstein is definitely on the list for one that I want to read. The other one is Cry the Beloved Country. This is a historical fiction set in South Africa, and I don't know if y'all know, but I lived in South Africa for a while, and so it was very special when I read it the first time. It was in the 10th grade, and I actually had a South African English teacher, so it was doubly special because it was special to me and my teacher, and I would love to reread it someday. Who knows? And those are the two that are honorable mentions. Let's go to the ones I actually own. Unfortunately, it's only 2 of the 10. So I have these 2 books here. The first is, I'm just lumping them all together, which might not be fair. The Alice in Wonderland series. I would love to actually read them. That is my favorite Disney movie, and I've always wanted to read them. So it's Alice in Wonderland and The Looking Glass are the 2 that I own, and I believe there's more. So I need to double check that. I also have a book of the poems by Carol. I can't remember her first name or his first name. I think it's Lewis Carroll. It'll be up here, so it'll be doubly embarrassing. But I do have some poems as well. So that's one of the ones that I do own. The next one that I own is The Jungle Book. I'm very intrigued by this one. I've heard that it is quite dark, so I'm very interested to read that story, but have like quite a dark version of it. So that is Rudyard Kipling. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So I would love to read The Jungle Book, and I do own that one. All right, let's go to the ones I do not own. So these ones, it's just whenever I get to them. Some of them are actually free on Kindle if you have like the Kindle membership, so I might be reading them in that way and not actually owning them ever, which is completely fine with me. So the first one is just like a curiosity thing. I just hear it mentioned all the time, and that is 1984, Orwell, and I would love to read it just out of curiosity because I hear it referenced all the time, either positively or negatively. I've heard both. So yeah, I would love to read it. Interesting. I think it would be really interesting. The next one I might get judged for. I know a ton of people read this in school, but I didn't go to school the whole time in America, and when I was in America I went to kind of a different kind of school, so I never read To Kill a Mockingbird. So that's one of those books that I feel like everyone should read, so that's definitely on the list as a possible read in the future, because I think it's like culturally everyone should read it, but I never did because I had odd schooling, which was great schooling, but odd schooling. The next one, kind of in the vein of Frankenstein, I would love to read Dracula. I would love to just see where all of these tropes come from. So as far as I know, they all come from Dracula. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm very intrigued to see if I would like it. I'm not really a horror kind of reader, but I don't really know much about it, so it would be interesting to read. Next is one that I haven't read, but it's because I read Les Mis in school. So I loved Les Mis. I know it's very, very drawn out and long and kind of rambly, but I actually enjoyed that because I'm crazy. So it was quite a fun. It was the summer between, or no, the Christmas break in senior year, and I flew back to the States for my brother's wedding, and then flew back to Thailand where I lived at the time. And during that whole Christmas break, we had to finish Les Mis. So it just has some great memories attached to it. So I might have some rose tinted glasses on when it comes to Les Mis. And that's not the book, obviously, because I've read it. The book is Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that book I would love to read because I did enjoy Victor Hugo. But again, maybe that's just me being too ambitious because I might have rose tinted glasses because of how much I love Les Mis. We'll see. The next one I kind of want your help on. I really want to read H.G. Wells because he is classic sci-fi, and I have no clue where to start or like anything about him. So I'm gonna do some research. So I just put several books up here because I do not know where to start. Do I start with The Time Machine? Do I start with, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on it. The war one. Goodness, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting. But like I said, I haven't done research yet about it. But if you have an opinion on H.G. Wells, please comment down below. And I'm gonna ask my dad as well to see if he's read any. And see where I should start or if I should read him at all or anything. But he's just classic sci-fi and I've always thought about reading him. So that's whatever number we're on now. Sorry, I've lost track. The next one I'm not quite sure if I would like. I've seen very mixed reviews. I've seen people who absolutely love this and people who absolutely hate it, and that is The Old Man and the Sea. I've heard that nothing happens in this book, which I think is fine in my case. I actually do like very slow kind of life books, so I might love this book. I feel like this is a kind of personality thing. Not everyone is gonna like this book. Some people read it in school and hated it. But I think I might like it because I kind of like slow. I'm reading Count of Monte Cristo right now, and it's pretty slow, but I'm really enjoying just the mood of it and the suspense of it. That like, I know this book is exciting, but it's not exciting right now, but like, what's gonna happen to make it exciting? You know what I mean? So it just has like really good atmosphere. So I think this book might be something like that I could enjoy, even though some people think it's boring or that nothing happens. So yeah, Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway, I believe. If I get any of these wrong, it's gonna be really embarrassing. The next one is Don Quixote. So just a little background for me. I took how many years? 7 years of Spanish. And in one of my Spanish classes, one of the more advanced one, I read Don Quixote, like a abridged kids version, but in Spanish. And so I have like some of the story in my brain from that. But like I said, it's a kids version because we're still learning Spanish. I believe that was my 4th year of Spanish. So we were high enough to read like a kids version of Don Quixote in Spanish. So I would love to read it in English, and I would love to read the whole thing now that I read quite more than I did back then. So that's just something that's kind of been on my bucket list since senior year of high school. So that'd be really, really fun. And that's Cervantes is who read Don Quixote. That one I actually am confident on. All right, and then now we're on the last one. I know because I have notes. I did not number them though for some reason. I don't know why I didn't. My last one is the one that has been the longest, and it has nothing to do with school, I don't think. Maybe I read this in school. Or maybe I read the previous ones in school, is That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. So I adore Out of the Silent Planet and Paralandra. Those are the 2 first books in the series, and it's C.S. Lewis's space trilogy. And I never got into That Hideous Strength. I think I've tried to read this book like twice, but I was quite young. So I was either college or young adult, like right out of college when I tried to read this, and I wasn't as good of a reader back then. It was before Wheel of Time, which is really what started me being a reader. So I didn't ever get very far in it because it is quite different than the first two, as far as I know. So I would love to go back and try again now that I'm a better reader, and not even read the first two, because I've heard that some people struggle with That Hideous Strength because they're thinking too much of the first two. But I would love to just read That Hideous Strength by itself, not thinking about the other two, and see what I think of it just very objectively. So I would love to do that. That's probably my biggest one. It's just a little daunting because I've tried, I think, twice already. So that's just a little bit daunting, and that's why I keep on putting it off. But I really do want to accomplish that someday. You know what I mean? So I hope this was interesting. These are the classics that I do want to read. Classics are so important to me, and I feel like a lot of people just read newer stuff just because it's easier, and they're not challenging themselves. And that's what I really want to encourage you today to do, is challenge yourself. Don't read stuff just because it's easy. Challenge yourself, like I did with the Wheel of Time here. Read a big series, read a harder series, read something that has a little bit outdated language, and you'll just feel so much more accomplished when you finish it. So for me, I'm reading Count of Monte Cristo right now, and it's just gonna feel so good when that's done. You know what I mean? And it just feels so accomplished that I've read Les Mis and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So these are the ones that I want to read. If there are any that you love that are not on the list, maybe it's because I did read them. So maybe I'll do a follow-up to this about 10 classics that I did read and what I thought of them. That's probably a pretty good idea to do too. So if you didn't see any important ones on this list, maybe that's because I've read them. So just comment down below and see if I've read them or not. And I'll do probably a follow-up video talking about some classics that I did read in my kind of weird schools. All right, so that is all for me today, and I hope you all have a great week.